But oh, direct by Georgi Karakhanyan, and it's over. Georgi insane Karakhanyan. Never let him off the hook.
I fought professionally for 16 years. I fought for mainly for Bellator MMA. I fought at organizations like Dream in Japan, stuff like that. But I have over 47 professional fights. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu since 2006. I'm a second-degree black belt. I am also, like you mentioned about breathing, oxygen advantage, master instructor under Patrick McCone. So that helped me actually a lot with the fighting and jiu-jitsu. So, right now I completely stopped fighting. So you could pretty much say retired, not retired, but I still train every day. So I have my own school right here in Riverside, California, where I work with the kids, with adults, some few up-and-comer professional fighters. And yeah, I've been good friends with Sean Baker. He's the one that actually got me into carnivore diet. Trained with him in the past at his house when I used to live right here in Laguna. Picked his brain a lot. Not gonna lie, it was a hard transition.
Yeah, I can imagine.
With fighting, we cut weight, and then after we fight, come home, it's like eating pizza, French fries, all that stuff. That transition to carnivore diet, it took me a good 6 months to actually get fully adapted. But now that I'm adapted to it, in the past I had a lot of surgeries. I don't feel the aches no more. Like before, I used to wake up with the back, like my knees used to hurt. I used to get really, really sore. But now, man, my energy level is very, very high. I keep up with all the 20-year-olds. I tell this at the gym to all my students. I'm like, man, I'm looking for a day that you guys could beat me. Until those days, I'm gonna push you guys really hard. So I condition still twice a week. And yeah, man, I feel great. And I try to tell a lot of people to get on this diet, but some people that bring up the cholesterol. Oh my God, you eat a lot of meat, your cholesterol high. But that's all bullshit. You don't have to pay attention to that. That's what the big pharma people want you to know, so that way you can keep going to doctors. They prescribe you all this nonsense. But yeah, that's my background. And like I said, I don't stop training. Like even though I don't have a fight, I still train a lot.
Yeah. So I was wondering, because for me, I'm an athlete. I'm 16 years old. I play basketball, and I'm looking to, go as far with that as I can. Would you recommend this kind of diet for someone my age? Would it be, even more beneficial to start it younger? Because I've done, just for some context, I did 10 days straight of just meat, was just eating beef, and that was solely it. And I know that's not enough to necessarily get like all the benefits, like you were saying with the aches and pains, but I definitely noticed some good things initially. But yeah, just would you kind of recommend someone of my age, and on top of that, someone who's doing this high training, high intensity, would you recommend this kind of diet for them?
Yeah, absolutely. You play basketball. I'm pretty sure you know who Michael Jordan is, and his coach Tim Grover. I'm really big on his book, and I met Tim, and I've talked to him in the past, and he talks about on the book, his new book called Winning. He talks about Michael Jordan always having a steak the day of the game, like 2 hours before steak. And yeah, I recommend this to anyone. Like my son is 3 years old. Ever since he was born, I would give him a steak. I would that's very good, especially for your brain development. To the age to start eating steak and all that stuff. But for you, absolutely. Try to and I know you're 16, you're gonna have times where you hang around with people, they're eating something that you can't eat. slowly eliminate those things, but don't go crazy 100% into it. Take your time. Like I said, especially with you, you might be even faster because you're so young. It'll take you maybe 4 months to get fully adapted, but add the meat, add the protein, and the best advice I could give you, which I got from Sean Baker, is whenever you're eating your protein, eat until you get full. You might have one ribeye and you might still feel like a little hungry. Eat 2 ribeyes because you want to eat it until you get really full. So ribeye is good, porterhouse is good, ground beef is good, but I mean, especially pre-game, this is how I would do for my fights. I would eat 4 hours before the fight. So when I'm actually in a arena, I get warmed up really good. Right when I walk out, I'm a little bit hungry. I don't want to go in there with the full stomach. So you want to go in there with the hungry stomach, so that way you're in there, you're thinking clear. Yeah, you might be hungry, but you're thinking clear, you're alert, you're focused. And another thing is electrolytes. So be on top of your electrolytes, especially if you go full on carnivore, because we have the carbohydrates hold on to the water, and when we have no carbs inside us, the water just, you sweat a lot, and so you want to be on top of the electrolytes.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to touch on right there. Number one, it's crazy you mentioned Tim Grover because his book, Good to Great to Unstoppable, that was like one of the books that just absolutely changed my life. I read that in 8th grade, and that just kind of like gave me the motivation, and it just taught like a lot of disciplinary lessons that are, I think, really valuable. So yeah, he definitely has a big impact on like, what I try and do now. So that's really cool that you're friends with him. Something you said with like when you eat the meals specifically, I wanted to touch on, like, I don't know if you've heard of OMAD, like 1 meal a day. Because obviously with athletics, that might be a little bit controversial, just having 1 meal, because you need to be fueled up for a kind of thing like that. I was just wondering, would you try something like that, or would you try and have multiple meals a day, maybe 2 meals a day? Would you snack? Would you have like a lot of meals? Like how exactly would you go about that when you have like 1 or 2 very high intensity exercises?
Yeah, so till this day, like, because I'm going on already on 4 years being a carnivore, the max I'll eat maybe twice. Because, but there are some days where I have 1 meal, and let's say that portion will be 3.5, 4 pounds of meat. That'll be just the 1 meal. But like you say, just snacks. So the only snacks I would recommend, if you really, because the snacks is just, when I bring up the word snacks to Sean, he says it's the relationship we have with the food. So especially here, so
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that with them. Yeah.
yep. So it's just like, oh, we're gonna what are we gonna snack on? Snack. So snack, you want to kind of, if you're serious about being a professional athlete, you want to take that out of the picture. And if you're gonna snack on cheese, beef jerky, like the Carnivore crisp has good ones, stuff like that. But to me, it's like, even on the days that I work out really hard, now that I'm adjusted, one time eating is perfect to me. Like, as soon as I go over that 4 pounds, hit the 5 pounds, 6 pounds of meat a day, I start putting on the size, and I get big. I'll walk around maybe 175, 180. But usually if I stick to one meal a day, I mean, there's no difference. Like I said, to me, the only difference that I'll feel is if I'm sweating, or if I'm on my bike a lot, riding a bike, or if I'm running a lot, or if I'm walking around with a weighted vest, I'll just drink a lot of electrolytes. But as far as, like, I'm telling you, as soon as you get adjusted in like that 6 month period, it's like, I get asked this a lot. You don't get tired of eating meat? I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, that there's times where I do get tired of eating meat, and what I'll do is I'll fast for 24 hours. I usually do my 24-hour fast every Sunday, and on those days I'll do long, like maybe 2-hour session in the sauna, a lot of resistant band workouts, just move, stretching, stuff like that. But I mean, whenever I get tired, I'll do 24-hour. I don't have to go 2-3 days of fasting because I'm already eating so clean. Uh, it doesn't do nothing. I don't eat no sugar. I don't drink alcohol. Uh, Pizza, soda is out the window. We don't touch that. But like to me, uh, it's a personal preference. So you could start eating twice a day, train, see how you feel, and then you could add once a day that, and then see how you feel. But to me, mainly thing that I feel with the once a day is just electrolytes. I'll be up on my electrolytes. I'll make sure I drink those electrolytes. But man, I mean, I feel great.
So with the electrolytes, do you take any supplementation at all? Like, are there certain electrolyte like mixes that you'll put with water, or are there other supplements that you recommend having with carnivore? Or would you just say it's kind of like an electrolyte thing?
So the electrolytes, I will have the element electrolytes.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Are the ones like I have, they're all like in the, I have a bunch of them. I
Mhm.
stack them up. My kids love them. I love them.
Hmm.
My wife drinks it all the time. Uh, but I'll have 2 packs. Like as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'll uh, I'll squeeze a lemon in the water. I put my electrolytes. If I want to add salt, I'll use the Redmond sea salt, which is my favorite
Hmm.
salt. Uh, I also use the regular salt, the iodine salt, which I learned that from Sean Baker. He when he seasons his salt, he puts both salts. So, uh,
Interesting.
yeah, so it's good, because before they're like, oh, don't use the iodine salt, it's not good for you, but you need that. So I use those two, and yeah, as far as supplements or anything I take with the carnivore, I'm really big on magnesium L-theanite. So
Hmm.
I'll take that. I'll take it by the brand called by Mercola, Dr. Mercola. He has a
Cool.
really good magnesium. I'll take that. Uh, at nighttime, I'll take the glycine. I'm really big on glycine by Thorne. And then Thorne is a good brand because they get tested by USADA. A lot of UFC fighters, they take those supplements. I don't know if you heard of Thorne, Thorne. It's a
I've not.
good brand. So I take glycine and magnesium. Oh, and I'm also like for my pre-workout drink, like let's say I'm on a bike or let's say I'm running or I'm doing jujitsu. I'll get a 20 ounce of water with electrolytes and I'll put 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, but by the same
Got
brand.
it.
And that's about it.
So would you say that these are like essential, or would you say that it's just kind of like an added thing because you're training so hard? Because I know one of the big things that, like the people or the skeptics would say on about carnivore, they'd say, you'd be deficient in things like vitamin K1 or vitamin C or things like that. But when you look into it, your body just operates differently on carnivore. So with things like these, like the magnesium, for example, and these other supplements, is that just something to get that much more because you train so hard?
Yeah, because I train so much, I sweat a lot. It's just a little, addition. But I get most of my stuff from the meat. I get most of the stuff from
Yeah.
ribeye. I get most of the stuff from ground beef, porterhouse, New York steak. Uh, I don't even like before I used to be so big on vitamin C, but ever since I switched to carnivore, I don't even touch that, and I
Mhm.
barely get sick. And it was hard to believe it, but like I said, I picked Sean Baker's brain so much, and training with the man at his age, he's a beast. He trains to the point where you like if you're watching it from the side, I'm like you would think like, oh, is this guy on steroids? Is this guy taking something? Like, but he's not. He's so clean. He's been drug tested so many times. I guess the only downside about the carnivore, a lot of people are gonna come up to you and they'll be like, oh, you're juicing, oh, you're on steroids, oh,
Mm.
you're on this. And when I did that switch in Bellator, I got tested the most. Like I was getting tested, urine test, blood work, uh, you name it. They would just call me. They're like, hey, it doesn't look right. You never look like this. We gotta test you. And I was like, sure, go ahead and test me. But yeah, just all those magnesium, the creatine and glycine, just the additional stuff, but you still get all that stuff from the meat.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was gonna ask because you touched on this with like eating 4, 5, 6 pounds of meat. Now, someone like me, I'm still growing, obviously. What I noticed in that 10-day period is I actually wasn't eating enough. And I think that's because I was it's so satiating, like the meat you get like full of it quickly. And I was also in school, so I wasn't able to like bring that much meat because then it would go bad. I'd stay after and then I'd have like basketball practice and I wouldn't get back to like 9 at night. So it was tough during that period. And I actually lost like 14, 15 pounds in 10 days, which is like very crazy. And my guess is I was probably eating around like 1,800 calories, just like from what I was eating on a daily basis. How many calories would you recommend for like someone with my activity level? Like I'm practicing at least like 2 hours a day, a lot of the time more, especially on like days that I don't have school, like weekends. And then I'm like 6'3", 180 to like 190 pounds is normally where I range. Is there like a certain caloric amount or like pound ratio that you would recommend?
So dude, my best recommendation, don't even pay attention on calories
Mhm.
because you're gonna burn a lot. How much you burn per practice? Do you
I
calculate?
actually don't know. Like, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know exactly how much I would do, but most of my practices are like they can range from like 2 to like 3.5 hours.
You don't use a heart rate monitor?
I do not know.
I would recommend if you can, like invest in a heart rate monitor, get a Polar one, and get the app called Polar Beat.
Hmm.
There's a bunch of exercise there you could put on basketball, and then do your like put it on and just train, and then see how much.
Hmm.
Because with me, it's like with each, like I said, I would train for 2 hours jujitsu. I would burn about 2,700 calories.
Wow. Wow.
So
That's actually crazy.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
in 2 hours. So imagine, so I think you
Yeah.
probably that's a perfect way to kind of, but don't pay attention on pay attention on the calories you burn, but whatever you intake, don't pay attention to that because you are 180 pounds. So I would recommend you so you would probably need at least after each practice, you need at least 4 ribeyes that are
Okay.
16 ounces. So 4 ribeyes that are 16 ounces. So do the
Hmm.
calculation. So that's
Yeah.
what you would need. And then with the ground beef, let's say you don't want to eat the ribeye, you would probably have a whole pound of ground beef with at least 8 eggs.
Okay.
That would be your
Yeah.
perfect ideal stuff. So, but I would really highly recommend you tracking down your calories burned with that polar beef because the polar
Mhm.
heart rates are pretty cheap.
So does it have like different metrics that it can track or like is calories the main? That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
It
that
tracks
would
everything. It
definitely be a good
tracks
investment.
your like the optimal heart rate where you need to be.
Hmm.
And when you're done with that whole 2 hour workout, I'll tell you, okay, you were at this rate, you burned this
Hmm.
much calories, and you were burning fat, and then it'll tell you. It's really cool app, and it's free, so you don't have to pay anything for the app.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's great.
But don't pay attention on what you take in. Like I said, whenever you eat, let's say you sit down and eat, and let's say, okay, today I'm gonna cook 3 steaks. You cook the 3 steaks, you eat the 3 steaks, and you're just like, you're not full. You want to eat.
Hmm.
When I tell you want to eat till you're full, like I mean, you want to eat till you're really full. Because me and Sean Baker would train at his house, and then after, he would eat like maybe 8 steaks. I,
That's
I would
crazy.
I would probably eat like three, and I'm like, I can't even like. It's like no, just eat till you're full. And then I realized how important is it to like eat till you're really full. And I'm telling you, he would eat till he's like
Hmm.
really full.
So go beyond like that point where you think, oh, I should be fine. But since it is like if you eat 1 or 2 meals a day, you really need to go a little bit above that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I definitely would say that that was my biggest issue because I wasn't eating enough calories. So like I was probably having like 2 pounds a day, if even that. I'd say like 2 pounds. And I felt good after the meal. That's the thing. Like normally on carbs, like you have that crash or you just like feel horrible after. And I actually felt really good. And I found on the days where I was eating more, because there were some days like on the weekend where I was just able to eat more because I wasn't in school. Those times I felt really good. And yeah, I definitely say that that makes sense to just eat like a bit beyond that threshold. So yeah, that's
And
good
you
advice.
just mentioned about crashing on carbs.
Mhm,
It's when you do carnivore for long enough, or when you do low carb for long enough, you're gonna realize certain food that you used to eat before that you put in your mouth and you eat it, and you're gonna feel that fatigue feeling, that crash. You can't think straight. And it's important to know what food actually makes you feel like that. So
mhm.
those are the benefits of being on a carnivore. You're alert, you're
Yeah.
focused, you just think straight, you know.
Got you. And then you talked a bit about like ground beef and eggs. So me, what I've realized, like I'm a huge ground beef person. I love it. I also love having seasoning with it. Would you recommend like would seasoning have such like a detrimental effect, even if it has like I know the one that I use is like mainly salt, and then I'm guessing they probably use some spices from plants. Would you say it's a good idea to try and remove that if that's like the only other thing I'm having than meat? Or would it be such a small impact that it's like worth it to have it just so I could enjoy it that much more?
Yeah, if it's making you feel good, add it, bro. It's not a big deal. It's not gonna be like, oh my God, he's gonna throw you off ketosis,
Mhm.
or it's gonna make your body. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're 90%, 95%, it's all meat, and you want to add a seasoning to just make it feel good. And like, I'm a big cheese person. I love cheese, but with the cheese and dairy, you bulk up really fast. So if you, let's say
Hmm.
you want to bulk up really fast, add a heavy cream, drink milk and cheese. Those three things. And again, I learned this from Sean Baker. Those will bulk you up. So if you want to trim down, then don't add dairy. But if you want to add a seasoning, go ahead and add a seasoning. I mean, like, I
Got
mean,
it.
I only add just the salt on my steaks and stuff like that
Hmm.
because I'm already used to it. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Like when I started, yeah, I was adding certain seasoning because I was like, man,
Hmm.
I'm getting tired of just adding
Yeah.
salt on the ground beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead and do that. Absolutely.
And then for something like ground beef, would you recommend certain foods to have to the side of that? Like I know some people preach like organs are important, like you touched on eggs, which I could see being very helpful. Are there things that like you definitely need, or would you be sufficient on something just like ground beef? Like what kind of foods do you try and go to? Or is it like a case by case, it's meat, so it has everything you need kind of thing?
Yeah, like when I started, um, I was, I'm pretty sure I was seeing some of the ads of the Liver King, and I was like, all right, I mean, back in the day when I was looking at him, I knew the guy was juicing for sure on steroids.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would go up to Sean Baker. I'm like, hey, what do you think about eating liver? He's like, nope, don't waste your time. Because eating liver, even with the onions, cooking it with onions, it tastes. I can't take the taste. Like I
Hmm.
can't. So no, I stay away from liver. I don't add no like liver stuff into it. I just stick with ground beef, eggs. I eat a lot of bacon. I love bacon. Uh, Steaks. I love steaks. Ribeye roast. That's another good one to have. But yeah, those are the main things I stick with. I don't even get too much into the liver, heart, uh, all that stuff. I stay away from all that stuff.
And since meat is so nutrient dense, would you say that it's fine to just stick to like one, two, or three kind of sources? That's why you don't really need to go in a huge variety.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, if you like chicken, you could add chicken too. Like it's no big deal. Like like Friday. So for the whole the for the Lent, I don't on Fridays I don't eat meat. So I'll stick with like
Mhm.
fish. So I have a wild salmon, stuff like that. Do I feel full? No. I'm so used to eating the meat, I don't feel
Yeah.
full. I mean, it's something for me like to practice, but like if you like chicken, add chicken. But like I'm telling you, if you could stick with like just the ribeye or New York is a little bit leaner. Ribeye has the fat because you get everything
Hmm.
ribeye because again, I learned it from Sean. He would just tell me ribeye is like the number one thing, to stick with that. So if you get tired of the fat, then start adding the New York steak and the porterhouses and stuff like that. But those are the main things I stick with.
And with the like fat to protein ratio, this is something that I was kind of confused on initially because obviously if you're in a state of ketosis on carnivore, then fat is going to be your main like source of fuel. So I always hear like people say you need more fat than protein to be in ketosis, but then a lot of fat or a lot of meat I saw has more protein than fat. And then I learned that some people are talking more from a caloric perspective since like fat has just over 2 times more calories than protein. Is there a certain like fat to protein ratio that you recommend if it's like an 80-20, or is there some threshold that you should try and cross that way you'll have enough energy to burn?
Yeah, I mean, believe me, even when you eat about 4 pounds of meat, it's gonna throw you off of ketosis. You're not gonna be like, oh my God, yeah, I'm on, because ketosis, and it's very dangerous to be on a ketosis
Yeah, for like long
very
term.
long time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you eating until you get full, and I've tested this because I used to test myself before with all the blood stuff and all that stuff. So it would throw me off of ketosis, and towards the end of the night, that's when I would be like so hyper. I'm like, you like that, your breath changes, the smell of your breath, you could that's how it know right away. And but as far as 80 15 80 20 is perfect. 80 15 is perfect too, but don't even pay attention to none of that stuff. It just, like I'm saying right now, for you, just get adapted to like, and I tell this a lot. Like I had a lot of fighters come up to me like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do this. They would do for 1 month, and then bam, they're gone. 6 months is the period. You want to really be really strict for those 6 months. Are you going to have cravings? Absolutely. Are you going to crave some of the stuff that you're eating? Yes. You're going to have certain practices where you go train for so long that you're going to come back home and your brain is going to be like, nah, man, you trained too hard today. I think you deserve pizza. I think you deserve donuts. It's just, you got to shut that brain off again, because it's the relationship with the food. So once you do that, then you realize you're going to eat only the times you're really hungry, and only when you want to give a real food to your body, because sometimes we just eat for nonsense, you just go
for
and stuff
sure.
like that. So it doesn't make sense. So right now, like, try to those 6 months get really adjusted, and I'm telling you, after you already know the feeling. In 6 months, you're gonna feel, with you it's gonna be faster because you're younger.
And so ketosis necessarily isn't really the goal, like because carnivore, yeah, that's the thing. Ketosis is like such a small thing that's really hard to reach. Carnivore is just its own kind of subset where you don't necessarily need to be on ketosis and you still get all these benefits, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So
Got it.
don't like I know it's trending a lot. All people's like, oh, you gotta be on ketosis, this, that. But don't even pay attention. Just
Yeah. And then I want to hit on like those like the breathing techniques and like the joint pain, things like that, or just anything really to optimize like from an athletic standpoint. Are there any recommendations of what you do to just be at your peak performance?
As far as breathing, I'm really big on nose breathing, because that's the number one. You learn it, the oxygen advantage. I learned from Patrick. Every time I go to sleep, I tip my mouth, and I know a lot of people,
I got the tape right
there
here.
you
Yeah.
go. There you go. You would need so I could email you. You would need a 3M tape. I know it's like, is that athletic tape?
Yeah, this is sometimes I notice it's like too strong. Yeah.
So 3M tape is one of the perfect ones to use. And I've been using that. Oh man, I'm going on 5 years now. And it's like the best sleep you could get. It'll take you about 2 weeks to get adjusted, but it's one of the best ways to get really used to breathing through your nose. Also, when I'm training, I tip my mouth, nose
Oh
breathing.
wow.
Yeah, so because it puts you in that it puts you in that flow state. And as an athlete, it's very important for us to tap into that flow state. It's like when you're playing basketball, you see like everything in a slow-mo. If you pause and take a picture of yourself, your mouth is not like this.
Yeah.
Open. You know, you're like your mouth is closed, breathe through your nose, and everything's slow. You can see your teammates moving, you're giving a pass, or you do your free throw. But it's same with the fighting. And the
Yeah. So
fighting,
the goal is to get to the point where you can work out just breathing through your nose. Because I know that's a tough thing. I've tried to do that, but you just recommend like really try and push yourself to get to that point.
yep, especially if you're lifting weights, try
Mm,
to tape your mouth, lift weights with no sprint. I mean,
got
because
it.
it's not a high pace, you get used to it. But that's a number one thing. And then also before you go to bed, uh, try to throw off your breathing. What I mean by throwing off your breathing, we like normal human beings, we breathe about, we take it in and out. In 1 minute, we take like maybe 20, 25 breaths. So before you go to
Mm,
bed, you want to do 4-second inhale through your nose, about 7-second hold, and then 8-second breathe out through your mouth. And you want to do that for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a perfect. So 4-second in, 7-second hold, 8-second breathe out. I think that comes out to like 19 seconds per breath.
mhm.
So what you do is you're throwing off your breathing cadence. So when you go to bed, especially if you tape your mouth, you will breathe about 4 to maybe 5 times in 1 minute.
Oh, wow.
That's
Wow.
very, very good. And that's what you want to tap into, do that a lot. And then
Mhm.
of course, Wim Hof style breathing is very good. It's all out there. People can look it up. That's really good to do before your match, like before you have a game going on.
Mhm.
Just stress out your vagus nerve. Because if you purposely stress out your vagus nerve, if there's a game going on and you're under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, it's not going to affect you. And then, of course, another thing is ice baths. Ice baths, I'm really big
Mm,
fan of ice baths, doing cold therapy. It's very, very important. And all this brain stuff will help you to do the cold therapy. But like for you, I would recommend before your games to do like a 1 minute ice bath. Before your game, you go do 1 minute and boom, you're ready. Nothing
mhm.
over 1 minute, maybe for recovery when you're done playing. Over 1 minute is good. Hit like the 5 minutes, 6 minutes. But before a game, and if you don't have the opportunity to take an ice bath, cold shower.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any other things, or is that like the main focus? Because obviously you don't want to get into too many things, because then it'd be hard to build a habit. But those are like the main three things you'd say.
Yeah, I'm big on breathing. I think the breathing should be very number one thing. So nose breathing is very important. So
Hmm.
breathing, uh, throwing off your cadence, the 4-second in, 7-second hold. And then when you do the exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds, it's through your mouth because
Got it.
we have the capacity to breathe out longer through our mouth than through our nose.
Hmm. And even because I'd say I'm pretty like blessed in the fact that I can like breathe out of my nose pretty well. But I know a lot of people who, they're like mouth breathers just naturally. Would you say it's kind of just more of a practice thing to get used to it? Like it's not like a genetic whatever, right? It's just something you got to practice and put yourself through that kind of pressure, right?
Absolutely. Like I have my nose, I've been punched so much in my nose. I have the deviated symptom. So uh when I was doing it, I was like, man, I might need a nose surgery, fix this, fix that. But it's normal, especially when you tape your mouth, your nostrils are gonna open and close throughout the whole day, and it's normal.
Mm,
So remember one thing, the right nostril controls your parasympathetic nerve. The left nostril controls your flight and fight mode. So let's say you have a pregame going on, like you're about to walk out to your game, your left nostril will be way more open. And then
mm,
you'll have some days where your right nostril is more open. So there's also breathing where you go in through your left, out to your right,
mm.
and that gets you in an alert state. But if you want to
Oh,
relax,
wow.
you do the opposite. So you do right through in through your right. So you go and then out to your right, out to your left.
Wow.
So
Wow.
and that gets you in a relaxed mode. So there's
Mhm.
there's a lot of things you could.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Wow. Um, Is there any other thing? I see we got like a few minutes left. Is there any other thing that you would just recommend, whether it's carnivore related or from an athletic standpoint? Any other tips you got?
I think another tip, just when you lift weights, try to lift like you see some guys just getting a 20-pound dumbbell doing this. That's not gonna cut it. So
Hmm.
you want to lift where it's like your reps are maybe 3 or 4, but they're heavy.
Yeah, I found
And
that recently too. Yeah.
you want to lift where you soar. And
Hmm.
why you want to get sore, because whenever you get sore you build the muscles, and
Yeah.
it's important to have muscles in the long run for longevity, because you'll be able to stay younger, stay fit. It's gonna fight off a lot of stuff. And another thing I'll recommend is a weighted vest. So if you get like
Mm.
a 50-pounder, I have a 100-pounder,
Oh
which you want to
wow.
build up to it, but like
Yeah.
you want to build, it's a brand called MIR vest, weighted vest. It's a really good brand. Again, I got that from Sean Baker. Just go on a long walk, maybe 45 minutes, and then get used to going 1 hour. And yeah, and then don't forget about your sprints, because sprints keep you explosive. If you could do sprints like once a week for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, it's really good.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's all the time we got today. I really appreciate, all the advice. Do feel free to send like the email of that information. But yeah, we really touched up on a lot, and I appreciate your time. And yeah, it's really cool talking with you.
No, no, thank you, and good luck with your career.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
You brother. See you.